I'm right back with another video. It is, what time is it? I like to be precise here. I do, I like to be precise. It is 6:48 p.m. and I'm glad it's early because I don't want to wind down right now because my brain is like unraveling things, and I'm trying to piece it all together. I really am. Okay, so earlier I was on I made a video and I was just kind of talking about same old stuff, but I'm trying to fill in the gaps of where I can try to understand, and I know it's hard to get off the subject because like I said, I would prefer to have formal closure, okay? But I know there's a lot of guilty people, who don't ever want to talk about this again, okay? And want to sweep it under the carpet. And for those people, I honestly can't say that I respect you, because you should not allow somebody to suffer the consequences of your actions. Okay, that's wrong, especially when you throw the religious issue on top of it. Shame on you. Anyway, so here, okay, I want to get back to this issue of 2008 and why things started getting really wonky, and then also to try to figure out, where do the rumors come in? How do they merge with employment? Why do they merge with employment? Okay, so while I was on Facebook in 2008, there was a lot of gossip, okay? Obviously, I know that I wrote Stephen Lyles in 2008, okay? So my concern is, okay, because I realized that at the time when I wrote him, I was separated, and I also believe that, I suspect perhaps maybe his family got involved, and maybe that, because I do have suspicions about, some people believe or are comfortable with romantic relationships within their own families, okay? So maybe his mom has a vendetta against me, but I can assure her that I never talked to him in that time period. And like I said, I only found out in 2016, and I thought maybe he stopped seeing his mom, and maybe he was hovering around manipulating my employment. But maybe this is what happened. Maybe he started manipulating my employment as a lie to convince employers to go along with him so that he could get some sort of access to my employment. But maybe he was being malicious. Maybe he was. I don't know. And maybe his mom got involved in it, and then his mom started, adding her combining her 2 cents in with my abusive family, and then together they started chiseling down my jobs or something. I don't know, but this is what I'm trying to put together. Meanwhile, all this is going on, and I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? When you get hit with something that changes your life in the manner that it did mine, you can't help to always wonder. I mean, you understand certain parts of it, because some of it's like, okay, you go back in time and you put these pieces together, right? You put these pieces together. It's like, okay, well, that makes sense. Okay, but then there's those little tiny details, because I could sit here and talk about what these people did, but then I want to know what their motivation was, what was behind it. And there's always like this direct approach, and there's also this subliminal approach, okay? Like, for example, you can go into an employer's a company and say that you want to arrange somebody's job, and you can say the reasons why that you want to. Like, for example, somebody might have used, like, my ex-family. Maria had a child out of wedlock, and we're just concerned about her. That's their direct approach. But their real approach, that they will not share or admit to other people, is because they feel a little competitive, and they're jealous, and they're manipulative, and they just feel, selfish, and they don't want to give Maria what she really deserves, okay? So perhaps maybe Stephen went around and said, well, I'm interested in Maria and I'm thinking about marrying her. And then people get like soft about shit like that, right? And so they'll say, oh, well, if that's the case, then we'll accommodate you gladly, right? But that's not really the case. It could be more done out of a hate crime so that he can gain access to my contacts or whatever, prospective employers and stuff like that. And this is what I'm throwing out there because, like I said, when you deal with something that doesn't add up, when you deal with something inconsistent, such as what I dealt with, your mind starts to try to figure out what happened. I know these people are involved just because of this, and this, but what is their agenda? What is their, and I know this is becoming people's favorite pastime, like, kind of playing bowling for dollars with people's lives. Like, people are plowing into people's lives, intruding into their lives. People really aren't safe at the job anymore. Not that they, there's always been stalkers and stuff like that, but it's becoming so easy, especially with, the technology that we have. And so, victims of this, such as myself, because who are the people who get involved in this sort of stuff? Like, I know, people mention the dark web. Now, I've never experienced the dark web, but I do hear of this particular thing, this activity that people do, and they access certain sites where they could talk about certain people and they could do all kinds of stuff. There's even places where you can purchase illegal drugs, prostitutes, all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's dark web or deep web level, but perhaps even things that go on in Facebook through instant messaging or maybe private chat rooms among certain people occur, so where these little secret societies that formulate can talk and discuss, and such as what I suspect happened to me, where things started talking and people started assuming and escalating. My question is this, okay? If the Stephen Lyles, okay, is involved in this, okay, how is it that he could sit here and allow a rumor like this to escalate to that point, knowing good and well I had no contact with him? You know what I mean? Unless, of course, he felt as though it was something that benefited him. You know what I mean? I don't fully understand. Like, because obviously you would think that he would step in and say, well, this shit shouldn't be going on because I don't have anything to do with her. But I'm trying. I mean, because this is extremely traumatizing to me, to experience something like this and then not have full closure on it, because I felt as though I got this unfair treatment and this illogical abuse for no reason, which doesn't, it really just kind of like, really, I'm always going to be on this and try to figure it out. And maybe I wouldn't be like this so much if I wasn't sitting in this reality that I'm in every day. Like, I had more to do, because I would move on, because I've already felt, like I said, enough about my ex-family or whatever to feel, like I made myself clear. I just want to move on with my life is what I want to do. And because I've never moved on with my life, my brain is constantly searching for this sense of safety, this security. And the reason why I don't feel secure, so the reason why I'm feeling, constantly going over back of my mind to figure out exactly who did this, why did they do this, what in the world happened, because I want closure. I want to put an end to it all, you know what I mean, to the best of my ability. Since I can't physically move and do what I need to do right now at the moment, I feel like I got hit with something that, it was too much for me on every level, It's deep, because you could be completely misunderstood on Facebook. You know what I mean? Completely misunderstood. Yes, okay, I did write him in 2008, and I really did want to be able to be friends with Stephen. I liked, he was a person that deserved to be liked, but perhaps maybe not. Maybe he's a dark shadow person. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. And maybe just being nice and friendly and kind to him was enough to make his family go berserk. You know? I don't even know anymore. I'm just like, I don't even know. I don't know. But whatever happened, you know, some weird stuff went on back then. Weird stuff. And I'm feeling the effects of it today. You know? And so I'm sitting here, you know, making this video talking about it because it's like, you know, it's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling knowing that, you know, you think you're just being on Facebook. You think you're just, you know, creating a little Facebook account like everybody has one, right? Just that's just something you do, you know, and you leave it at that. You don't think about what are people doing about your Facebook. You know what I mean? What I had on my Facebook account, the activity was so small. Like, I remember the last time I visited it a few years ago, before I deleted all the shit on there. Because I was pissed. I mean, I literally, at my old Facebook account, I unfriended a bunch of people because I realized these people were conspiring against me. I didn't quite understand why. Okay, but I will tell you, it didn't take me long to scroll down my page in my old Facebook account because there was very little stuff on there. Very little stuff. You know, I had a few pictures of myself, and like some of the things that I would post, you know, kind of like, you know, a little memorabilia things, that whatever thing I was interested in at the time, but very little shit that I have on my Facebook account. Very little. But people must have made up all kinds of stuff about me, you know, and made me out to sound like I was like the worst person in the world. And but it had to have come from, you know, Stephen Lyles' family, you know, like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you or whatever, but I kind of thought that was the end of the deal in 2008. Why the hell would I think for 1 minute that all of this big drama blow up would happen? You know, it's like you write a letter and you forget about it, you move on. You don't think that people are like lingering on and stuff, and I don't know. The whole incest thing is weird because, like, you know, I suspect him of being this way. And then I know that Joel and his family is like that. And it must be something that people kind of, it's one of those things that is normal to certain people and they don't think about it. But I guess I see things differently, you know. And I'm not interested in being the love rival of anyone, especially something like that. You know what I mean? I do understand that it's a very common thing among a lot of people. Just because it's common doesn't mean I necessarily want to do something like that myself, okay? But I do understand it's common, okay? So, you know, I was thinking about Stephen. I kept thinking, well, you know, I know it was common. Maybe that was something he was raised with, but maybe he doesn't do that anymore. So I was still willing to get to know the guy. I really was. But I really wanted this whole thing out in the open so I could figure out what the hell's going on, because I was tired of my life being held back. See, my life is being held back to play fiddly fuck over shit that I suspect my family thought that I was flirting with Stephen Lyles all these years, and I wasn't. Okay, and I suspect his mom thinks that I was a rival in their relationship when, you know, I think it was blown out of proportion. You know, and really, I don't want to be associated with anything that connects me to, you know, anything incestuous. I just don't. Okay, like, you know, I'm not being mean or hateful or anything like that. It's just not me. So I don't even want my name associated with that. So, and I certainly would not be in, what do you call it, one of those type relationships where, like, you know, I remember reading this article about a girl who was married, and then their mom kind of came on to her, and it kind of freaked her out. And then I remember thinking, that would freak me out too. I wouldn't want anything like that either. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm being upfront and just talking about stuff out in the open like this is because all the things that I feel as I'm being persecuted for is the shit that people refuse to bring out in the open to me, right? They want to, sit there and give you, well, they used to, they don't now, but, I felt like I dealt with a lot of persecution that went over my head, like, what the hell is all this shit going on? Because people must think this shit. But I'm saying, okay, well, if this is what you think, then I'm going to bring this out in the open because I'm sick and tired of dealing and suffering for bullshit that I had nothing to do with. You know what I mean? I don't want to play love rivals. I don't have the energy to sit here and be like, I'm going to fight for so and so. To me, that's ridiculous. And especially if it's one of those mother-son type deals, that's, because I can't go there. You know what I mean? And plus, if you're somebody's sexuality bends or leans towards something that's taboo like that, there is no way in the world that someone could compete with something like that. If you're not into those sort of taboo type things, and they are, then that right there should sever that shit right then and there. Because it's not going to work. I couldn't be attracted to that. I can't. So whether this was, whatever the intent was, whatever the direct approach of these people coming into my life and manipulating and tossing shit up in the air, whether their direct approach was that, and their subliminal approach, meaning what their real intent was to do, was as a part of the terrorism, whether they were working with my family in some weird direct way. But I also get the feeling that my family was kind of wearing a double mask, like maybe wearing a mask in front of Joel's family's face and then kind of playing the Lyle's family at the same time. This is what I'm all assuming. I'm trying to figure this out, people. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out who's did what. And even though I know the case is sort of closed at the moment because but still, for my own well-being, it's like, I want to fill those damn gaps in because I feel like completely abused. I really do. Now, like I said, I will take responsibility for me lying to Joel and all this other bullshit. Okay, that makes sense, all right, but all this shit, the Lyle's song and dance shit, all this garbage, aside from that, okay, I'll take responsibility for that, okay, but this other shit, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? I think that there's just like this rage, this monstrous rage that didn't make any sense. Like, people got involved in this, and it was just illogical. It was illogical when you think about this and how illogical it is. Like, why is it now? That's considered to be a taboo. Like, it's considered to be a sexual taboo. So I feel as though people are pointing the finger at me and then trying to make it a moral issue because I wear fake hair, because I have damaged hair. So it's a solution to an issue. Okay. And so, why is that immoral when what these people do is considered to be a taboo? I'm not judging it. I'm just saying it is. So what is moral in this issue? I don't understand it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying incest is immoral. I personally have my feelings about it, but I'm going to be subjective about it. Okay. I'm not trying to be like that, but I'm just saying is, where does this come from? Is his mother just feeling like she's in competition with me? Is this what it is? Because why would her opinion matter when I never invited her into my life in the first place? Unless she's involved in my life out of some sort of vendetta that she has against me because she feels as though I overly pursued her son, when in fact I didn't really communicate with him after the first time I talked to him in 2008. And like I said, the only reason why I've been contacting him lately since 2016 is because I kind of started putting things together, and that's why. You know what I mean? So she doesn't have to worry about me. If this is the case, then, I'm trying to figure shit out so I can move on with my life. You know what I mean? Because I don't want any vendettas or people feeling like, they want to sit here and like continuously bombard me or involve me into their personal problems, because that's a personal problem. It's a personal problem. If this is the case, this is a personal problem with them. Okay? Because, like, you know, I can contact somebody on Facebook and you either respond or you don't, and you move on, okay? But if you were going to go out of your way after this and do things in a covert manner and doing all this sort of stuff, and then I'm supposed to be okay with feeling the consequences of it, that's ridiculous, okay? You can't justify that. It's just ridiculous, okay? It's inappropriate. It's not right, you know? So, anyway, I needed to record that, you know, because it's for my own good. And like I said, if I'm wrong about all of this, then, you know, hey, we can talk about it and I stand corrected. We can, you know, resolve all this. But something tells me those face-to-face meetings will never happen. And the reason why, and the very fact that they will never happen, is more confirmation of me being true, that this must be the truth then. These little tidbits that I'm trying to fill in, okay? I know all the rest of it's true, but these little tidbits that I'm trying to fill in, you know? I also wanted to bring up the fact that, you know, Joel's family, like I said, you know, I don't want anything to do with those people. I really don't. But, you know, whatever issue they have with me, you know, I feel as though that would be inappropriate too, because I don't deal with them. You know what I mean? I don't, I'm not sitting here thinking about how I can get revenge on Polly or Esther or any of these people. I mean, or Callie or whatever, because I will tell you, if I was to see Callie in person, I would not recognize her. I don't know her. I simply don't know her. So for her to have anything to do with my life is just another one of those illogical things and irrational, because she would probably be throwing herself into this hate crime just for the fun, you know, the pure enjoyment of being a bitch, because if that's what she was doing, okay? I'm not saying she is, but I'm just saying is she has no reason to, because I don't have anything to do with that. I don't have anything to do with that family. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure this shit out, but all I know is that, you know, I'm a responsible person. I will take responsibility for things that I know that I'm responsible for. I've always been fair like that. I've always tried to be. Okay? But this bullshit, I refuse to take any responsibility for it. At all. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'll be back with another video some other time later. Take care.